Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ready Speaker. I'm your host, Roland DeRucci. Thank you for joining me. Today we're starting a little something different. We're revisiting some films and seeing if they hold up. And I picked for this episode Rango from 2011. It has a 7.2 rating on IMDb. I'm not sure where it is on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's quite an interesting animated film. The lead actor is Johnny Depp, and I'm going to go through the cast actually right now. It's Johnny Depp, Isla Fisher, Timothy Olyphant, Abigail Breslin, Ned Beatty, Alfred Molina, Bill Nye, Stephen Root, Harry Dean Stanton, Ray Winston. I mean, it just goes on and on with some people you are very familiar with, and it's really, I'll tell you, it's really an interesting animated film. It's not really for kids, even though it pops up on Netflix. It's as kid friendly, family friendly. There's a lot of, I would say, Looney Tunes sort of elements into it, where there's rapid fire comments in it, and there's some stuff that's probably very adult. And even though it's quick witted, it's almost not as dirty as Blazing Saddles, but very much in that Western theme of rapid fire stuff, sort of an awkward situation, seeing where things are and how things play out with each other and all these characters. So the summary is that Johnny Depp is a gecko, some sort of lizard, and he gets booted from his owner's car. And he's in one of those little fish tanks with like a world, and he's a thespian thing. And he gets booted and lands on the asphalt road, and he ends up in this Wild West town called Dirt of little creatures. And this is like some of the things I have problems with some animated films or any sort of story like this, is why certain creatures speak and why others don't. Like there's a hawk that doesn't speak, but there are birds that speak, and there are lizards, there are gophers, there are rabbits, there are all kinds of tortoises, turtles, all kinds of things that evolve and come into play in this film. And you can get really past it. And the interesting thing is you're going from cars, and I'll tell you, I kind of forgot that the world had cars until the end when they revisit that moment, because you get so immersed in the Western that it just pulls you in. You forget where you are. Great job on this story. It's written by, who wrote this? I got it right here on IMDb, so I apologize. But it's John Logan, Gore Verbinski, and James Ward Bierkit. And Gore Verbinski was the director. So they wrote this. I think it's a really interesting story. I know it's from 2011, and people are like, hey, why should I watch that? Why not? Watch something and revisit something that's kind of enjoyable. It's a good sit-down movie. It's one of the prettiest animated movies I've seen ever. It's just, it's hard to describe the use of light in animated film. And what they did with this, how they work the light, how they radiate sky, and they work with shadow, they work with texture, and it just really pulls you along. The dialogue is great. Johnny Depp at first, I think the first like 2 acts is really a character in that, and then he sort of creeps into the story in the final act of who he is. And it's a serious story. It's this town. Their commerce is water, and all of a sudden they've lost all their water in the desert, and they don't know what to do because they have no water, so they can't trade. They trade on water. They exist on water, and the town is drying up, and it has the evil mayor, the dim-witted saloon regulars, the girl who's sort of like a tomboy and wants to survive and not give up on the family farm, and then you have Rango, who's a liar. There's a lot of other Westerns that sort of fit into this mode. They came out in the 60s and 70s. You have the spaghetti westerns, you have the James Garner westerns, support your local gunfighter, support your local sheriff, sort of like that realm of storytelling. But they did a really good job with it, and that's really the interesting part of it. They even take, they take just some real world building and some real depth of family and stories and background to this, and even the sound design. Now, I nitpick on that a lot of times too, and I guess with an animated film, it's easier to manipulate the sound design because it's all there, it's all in studio. But people fail in that too. There are certain nuances to this of where Rango walks, in the dirt and the sand, and you can hear it. You can feel that texture. There's a snake creature, the rattlesnake character in it, and you can feel them too. You can almost feel the scales, sliding along the ground, and all the other things that are working, all the mechanics that are working there. So it's a little bit almost like a Watership Down. If you want to go into like these kind of stories, Bug's Life, where everyone needs a savior to get saved. They don't really see how to do it. It's not because of Rango's intelligence or lack of that he saves them. It's because he believes in his own heart of where he fits, and he finds a place to fit. I think that's the moral of the story, that he found a place to fit and found a place worth fighting for, rather than making it a commercial success, monetary success, or just being spiteful and cruel. And there is some elements of that. So again, not the best kid film, I think, especially if they're really, really young kids. I think older kids, yeah, you can watch it. I think you can watch it with them. You can watch it as a family. There's certain lines in there that are really kind of weird, but they're fast and they will go over most people's heads. They just throw away lines, and if you got it, you got it. I actually like that kind of writing where you just say something because it makes sense in the moment, and you don't have to overanalyze it. It's just a bit, just a line. It's just a character feeling awkward, or a delivery that sort of lands, and everybody's like, okay, why would we say that? That's kind of weird. And it's just a little bit of background on the character, and that's what it gives something to the audience to just chew on till you get to the next moment. And again, I think the lighting and the animation is really superb. 7.2, it stuns me that that's a 7.2 out of 10. I'm playing the trailer, this video, and it is some of the prettiest stuff. Now, I saw it at home, maybe because I'm seeing it now on a new TV, and you have more bandwidth now. I remember seeing it years ago at home, more than likely off a Blu-ray. I would buy a lot of these animated films for my kids and just have them around. But it's just some of the stuff here, the colors, the depth. You have, just watching it right now, and the details are really, really pretty. And you do have, this world, and you see the depth, and you see the colors, and it doesn't always feel flat. And depth of field, that's what I'm trying to, I guess, describe. The depth of field here is really, really impressive. So you see that hot sun outside. You see how it bakes things, how it sort of gives us a subtle whitewash, a wash over things. And then you see something that comes into focus, and you see the brilliance of it. And it's just so on point. And like I said, there's some interior shots that the shadows just work so beautifully with it, that it's so impressive to look at, and I don't know if I can describe the work involved here. And I keep looking at over there because I think it's just so impressive, the world building in this. And there's other animated films that have done world building. You have The Incredibles, you have obviously Toy Story, the first three, I think, and they do different sort of things. I think they put those stories, those films, pull your heartstring a little bit more, differently. So you have WALL-E, you have Up. I think this is, a animated film that stands on its own. I think it's Johnny Depp before he got, just into his kooky, 2020s. And I think this was, his voice actually sounds younger in this. So he's doing something with that. And the cast is some really, really good people who just give a lot. And they're not even recognizable for the most part. I don't really hear the voice and go, oh, I know who that is. I'm just really taken in by the characters and the animation and the storytelling and the speed of it and the rhythm of it. It's just a really, really good film. If you're going to watch an animated film with some family, maybe younger kids, even with your partner or just yourself, I think have a glass of wine and enjoy it. It's a Western. It's a real Western. It's truer to a Western than most Westerns. Even though it's set in today, it's set where their cars exist and it's asphalt, but this is a time capsule. This little town of creatures is a time capsule of the West, and how it still hasn't just vanished yet. So it says a lot, And there's even a shout out to the gunslinger with no name, the Clint Eastwood spaghetti westerns. There's even a shout out and a reference to that. So it's I don't want to say it's a homage, but it's respectful to the westerns that came before it, especially in the 60s and the 70s, and just the way it's shot is an asset. So watch the film. I would watch it if you can. Just revisit it. It's not new. I know it's not like, oh my God, when did this come out? It's not a really great discovery, but it's a solid film that probably deserves more than 7.2 in my opinion. And I think it's a solid story, solid voice acting, solid animation, beautiful lighting, beautiful detail. Gave me a story. It moves. And I don't know what else to say about it besides that. Okay, well, great. Thanks for joining me. This is a short one, I guess, but this is Ron DeRucci. I'm Ready Speaker. Like, subscribe, share. Send me a message. Maybe we can do a show together. We can revisit a movie. And this is part of some of the things I'm doing. I'm doing a revisit, and I'm doing a first watch. So this is one of my revisit reviews, and I think they're worthwhile. Some movies you can watch 1,000 times. Some movies I can't watch more than once. It's just painful. So this is one of the movies I could watch again and again. And even without the audio, I think it's probably as impressive, which I know that's hard to say for a movie. But the visuals work so well with it that it's just really enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed them. I've been playing through here. So I hope you really did enjoy the videos. Okay, bye.